I chose the topic of chapter 7 with the Roman Empire and their art types. Many of the artworks coming from there resemble Greek art types. One of the first ones we're going to get into is Roman buildings and how they were made and how they resemble stuff from Greek architecture. So in Roman art, it was a lot of great leaders being portrayed with their armies, and it was basically to show how great they were. It was an effective tool it was an effective political tool, and it's a tool that we still use today with the whole presidential election here. They used artwork to show their candidate's support on certain things and to show how bad the other person is. That's been used for years. But into the Roman buildings, they resemble Greece with their arches and as stated in the textbook, that they resembled the type of pillars that they had and the vaults, like domes. One of the first types of domes is a barrel vault dome, which is seen right here. It's kind of it's like a regular arch, but it extends out from the building, which again is called a barrel vault. And then the next one is, I believe it's groin. I don't want to say groin, but I don't know how to say it. Vault. It's basically the two barrel vaults intersecting to make a T, which looks like that one. You see how there's two arches, well, technically four, two on either side, but it's two barrel vaults in a cross pattern. So those are two different types of art types for buildings anyways. And then the last one is hemispherical vault, which is basically just a dome. There's no right angles, no angles at all. It's kind of like a cylindrical building, but it has a dome on top of it. This is an okay representation of that. Not the best. And this is how they were used. This is one of the most famous buildings. As you can see, they have the arches, and these extend just a little bit off from the main building, which will make them a barrel vault. Unfortunately, in this picture, I don't believe that there are any of the other two types. And a lot of these buildings were made out of concrete, and the concrete that was used, it was either made out of lime mortar, volcanic sand, water, and small stones mixed together, poured into a wooden frame, and then once it dried and cured, the wooden frame would be popped off, and it was a slab of concrete that was very rough, but it was very durable. The reason why they used this because it was cheap and it lasted. Yes, it took a long time to make, but again, it was cheap. Another form of art is ancestor portraits. These portraits separated the upper class from the middle and lower class. They were to represent ancestry, as in the name ancestral portraits. This is one of them. It's said that this guy was the guy who lived. One of these was his father, and one of these was his grandfather. It's to show the ancestry of that line. With these ancestor portraits, the artists were told that, well, with these ancestor portraits, you weren't supposed to show them in a higher class than what they actually were. So say they came from upper class and they were like on the lower side of upper class. The artist wasn't supposed to portray them in a way that made them seem higher, in a higher status than what they actually were. And this art style continues even throughout today. We have an Abraham Lincoln statue and Mount Rushmore and so on and so forth. Again, there are many other art types throughout Roman history, but these are just two that I really liked to hit on because they interested me a lot. And thank you. Have a nice day.